So like when you were young, were you like having dreams of being a singer? Were you like air guitaring and learning songs, or were you like into more like sports and other kinds of stuff? Or what was your like childhood vibe?
When I was young, I was like, I like anything with motors or like bikes or like I was just doing like boy shit. You mean jumping my bike, playing on RC cars, building models, whatever kind of shit like that. I like that kind of stuff. I wasn't like into any kind of music, like musically kind of like any kind of choirs or learning any instruments, none of that stuff. I just played sports, played baseball, a lot of ball hockey.
Mm.
But yeah, that was where I was at when I was young.
And then you said somewhere around 8 or 9, you got like it kind of evolved a bit, and you started caring more about music.
Absolutely. I remember when I was 8 or 9, we used to be playing ball hockey and we had the big boom box and we had like the Beastie Boys, Fat Boys. I even remember Maestro Fresh West, let your back bump slide. And I'm out there playing hockey on the street hockey. Time, you got to move the net. Car comes through, put the pull it back over. So yeah, I remember those days. That's when hip hop started. I was like, oh, I like this. I like this stuff.
How were you like finding it? Was it like people around the block had tapes, or was it the radio? Because keep in mind, for you, it might seem matter of fact, but there might be people hearing this that grew up and had YouTube since their whole memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely we used to have to buy the single and the cassette and actually support the artist straight up. There was no free downloads, there was nothing. If you wanted to hear a song, you had to go buy it unless you did the old scotch tape on the cassette and caught it on the radio. Like, you know what I mean? If you knew it was on top 10, maybe you can catch it like that, make yourself a little mixtape. Some people did that stuff. But generally I would just buy the tape, then you get the little printout. Sometimes it'd have the words, which is cool, you know what I mean?
You guys were able to
Rap
buy
along with
hip
it.
hop at like 10?
Pardon?
You were able to buy hip hop when you were like 10?
My friend's parents get it for them, I guess. I didn't have a boombox, not by my buddy
Mm,
Sean saved himself. I remember the airplane on the Beastie Boys thing, and then like you know what I mean,
that's a
Fat
wild tape
Boys,
for y'all to have as a kid. Like it's a good tape, but
well,
like
many yeah man, that's many moons ago. No more cassettes. That's crazy.
I mean they're still out there, but I bet
Crazy that vinyl's making comebacks,
I think it's
right?
like because it's a sick ass collector's item and it has like a utility value as like a DJ thing. Like there is an actual
Absolutely.
utility value to a vinyl in a way where it's harder to justify the purpose of a CD, which doesn't have any real value in this world anymore.
I feel like listening to a vinyl, it just hits different too.
Mm.
You know,
That's
I
fair.
don't know,
And
warmer,
it's more
if it's
enduring,
warmer.
right? Like a vinyl gonna last like the next like forever kind of thing. Whereas CDs and even tapes, they're pretty like fallible. Like if you picture like a vinyl is like some shit that you're giving to your like grandkids, and it's like generational or.
Yeah, it's not like a CD where you see CDs tossed around all over people's house now. You're not gonna see our records. People
Right,
put
you
them
find
back in the
fucking
case.
like actual CDs in the streets sometimes. Not as often now, but like you'd be like walking down and see some like classic Dr. Dre album just smashed up in the middle of the street, and it's just like no
That's terrible. I
empty.
think skip one too many times. Skipped one too many times. I've been there and I just go pop right on my knee and out the window. I'm done with this CD.
Yeah, I mean Spotify did fuck that shit up. I can't go back now. I'm a Spotify guy for life.
Yeah, well, that's the world now, right? Like like who can't like it's so convenient, and you can pick and choose exactly what songs you want on demand at your house. You know, like it's crazy, but that's what the world is, right?
Yes, it's definitely. Well, it's also like think about like the entertainment. Just like on a little tangent, like you grew up in like an era where y'all was just literally doing like motorized cars and outside a lot. I grew up with Nintendo. Like people want to act like that shit hasn't been around for a minute, but like the second Nintendo kicked in, bro, we used to like hang out in the schoolyard with Pokemon with like 4 Game Boys and those cords and just like Pokemon. Like Pokemon Go was like, to me it was just like, oh yeah, it's like being 10 again. Like
Yeah. I mean, see, I was before that. Like, I never had the Pokemon. I remember Nintendo. Like, Nintendo came out when I was young, but I just was never really a gamer guy. There was a couple games I got into. I remember like Baseball Stars. I used to play with my buddy Cease, and you can make your own players, name them and stuff.
hmm.
Of course, the Blades of Steel and Excite Bike, those classics. So, but I used to go back in my day. We used to go to it's called Wizard's Castle, the arcade. You know what I mean? Where you got to go put quarters in. or you take nickels and you let train run it over, and then you can use it as a quarter. You know,
Say
fake slot.
word. Y'all would like really come up with all kinds of shit to get some extra.
Oh yeah, we used to take the bread ties too, and you could empty all the candy machines, bro.
Yeah, that's
You gotta
what.
be innovative when you're a kid sometimes, right?
Especially
You
if you
gotta,
gotta hit the arcade.
so yeah, exactly, bro. These high scores got to be met, bro. My name got to be over there, you know. So
Remember the Center Mall arcade?
yeah, that's exactly.
Mm,
That's Wizard's Castle. That's
right,
what it was
right.
called, Wizard's Castle.
That came
It was
from.
awesome.
That place was rough, yo. I don't know about that, but that's what we're getting from the chat.
That's sick, though. Yeah, I remember the girl with the apron. You had to give her your money. She gave you some coins, and you'd be playing Double Dragon, whatever.
That's cool
Holy,
though.
I
Yeah.
am Holden.
Nah, but it's that's why it's like it's a different reality, but it's also interesting, and it does come with it. Like an epiphany I had is like had this Kendrick album that just came out, dropped in like the '80s. Everyone would have listened to it like 7 times by now, and now most people
Mm.
probably heard it like max once and a bit. Like the number of people that actually played that shit in full twice back to back is not high, and that's a huge thing that
No, well,
changed.
well, yeah, because there's almost a template to be followed now if you want to be in that. You know what I mean?
I
The mainstream, like,
Nah, I think it's something.
unfortunately.
I got that. Yo, let's check it. When you were young, video games were excite bike. Video games be fucking
Yeah.
lit now. Like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
people act like yo, people got mad attention spans. Like if you talking Marvel movies and shit, like people wildly focused. It's just like I don't think our lifestyles encourage sitting there and listening to music. That entertainment capacity got phased out the way that it used to be back in your time where you would just have albums playing as the backdrop to shit as a collective group thing. That
Well,
wasn't so like even by my age it was all headphones. It was all solo.
yeah. Like I feel like now it's so easy for you to go from watching TV to listening to music to talking to your friend. Like it's all just movement of your thumb. So
Super
it's
facts.
hard to like. Why do you put your time? You're like, I'm not. I'm gonna try this different. It's like you're always trying to find that serotonin or whatever, like that. You mean you want that satisfy your need for the digital or whatever? Like you mean it's terrible. I don't like as we're talking about this, I'm what I'm realizing is I grew up in a way better time than it is now. Like I feel bad for the kids now. So
Super different time. Yo, the one thing to their benefit is I'd be talking to like, let's say you were 17 right now and we were having this conversation. Chances are you got a full studio in your crib and you've already recorded over 100 songs and you've already got like 6, 7 years of practice in the game and you're not even 18 yet. That's the flip
well,
side.
I agree, and like that's why there's Spotify and all this. I was gonna say that too, I think, because that's the thing is it gives more opportunity, right? You know what I mean? But at the same time,
Then you have to hear every 16-year-old's track as as an
yeah.
old person.
Well, you know what? Though, you know what? Honestly, even like when I hear a 16-year-old's track, just like if it's all about like if they're seriously in and they're trying, they're gonna grow, bro. They're gonna get better.
Facts.
Like more 9 times out of 10. So to hate on a kid that's 16, like you're fucking shit, bro. Like, you know what? You're just probably mad at him because you're not doing anything to take a risk. Making music is a risk and like putting yourself out there. So you know what I mean? It's almost like you're being naked or whatever kind of deal. Like it's like people will say, "Oh, this girl's like brave. That's brave. This like that's making music or any kind of art, like a painting or anything, putting it out there. I mean, it takes guts, and you're gonna evolve. Everybody, I always say, with grind equals growth, right? You grind at something, you're gonna grow. You're gonna get better, whether it be music, working on cars, doing interviews like you do. You know what I mean? Got to put in the time on anything. So, like, I encourage these 16-year-old kids, even if they're sucking, but like, at least they're putting energy into that instead of like breaking into my car or doing something stupid. You know what I mean?
That's true. And I think though the thing is with the accessibility, what really changed is you're just hearing everything now. Like you're actually being exposed to a lot of stuff that existed back in the day, but you wouldn't have heard it because that shit never left its hood. Like you know, it never made it out the hood. It existed. It might even be on
Yes,
YouTube now, but none of us would know to Google it. But that, cause yo, like
absolutely. Yeah.
so it's like I think people be wildly jealous that kids be getting famous and a little bit off of some shit that they perceive as low effort that those kids are not even trying to be hip hop on, and there's some like generational stuff happening there, but end of the day that's like a little bit tangential.